We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Presented by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good Happy New Year to the folks that we didn't catch in the earlier segment, the earlier show. It's going to be an interesting week. Again, Huskers hoops back at it. The other sports picking up. Students returning back in. Student athletes returning back in. More coaching changes to be made. Coaching signings to be made. And so through that, lots to talk about. 402-464-5685. Hit me with a What's Up DP on the Sartor Hammond text line or call in the Honda Lincoln hotline. You can, in fact, follow the live video stream by Sartor Hammond, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Reach out and say what's up, and we'll go through. I thought it would be interesting. I did want to have a conversation with Shawn Jackson here later in this hour. He's coming in and we'll take over the 11-2. We had to make changes on a very short plank, very short runway. And so in trying to piece together the roster as it needs to be, not always smooth, not always fun. But I think what he brings to the table is something unique and special. One, he knows the game. He knows the space. He knows Husker athletics, and he's a fan. He is a sports fan. So that's a big part of it. And then his connections within the athletic department and within Husker Nation are impressive. So you want to put those things to work and in play. We wanted to bring in Terrence Badgett. Badge has some other stuff that he has to deal with, so we're working with the flexibility behind that. But pretty much the 11-2 will be, Shawn and friends over the next course. And I'm going to tell you, the lineup is pretty impressive of people that he's bringing on this week. So from 11-2, you're not really going to miss much in having. Yeah, hey Rico, how you doing? You feeling all right? Get that out of the way. Okay, good deal. Do I need to worry? Do I need to worry about you?
No, you're fine.
Okay. All right. That's how this works. So yeah, it'll be an interesting day. And then with the happy hour and then Bach and Strick take you to 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. Tonight will be Nicole Griffin. I believe tonight she's Nick Sainert. She always has a great lineup of guests and folks to come on and talk sports with her. The Talking Tens from the gymnastics team. The two young ladies, Michaela Curtis and Kenzie Roby, and then we'll even get you some swimming and diving later with Reagan Hinn. So there's lots going on in the building over the course of the day. We extended coverage and extended conversations later into the day. So there's where that falls. Couple of things. Watching Georgia and Alabama, we said early in the year that as much as we dislike it, that I felt like the sprint to the final, to the tape was going to be between Alabama and Georgia. I didn't want it, but it seemed like it was going to be. That was inevitable. Watching two teams play at a higher level than everybody else throughout the course of the season, even when Texas A&M beat Alabama, I still felt like Alabama was in the conversation, and we're still the team to beat. Now we found that out when Alabama rolled through Georgia in the SEC championship game. And watching Georgia and Michigan, there were people who seemed to want to go through their conversation mentally lazy and saying, well, Georgia hadn't beaten anybody. Well, no, the truth was they beat everybody except Alabama. And if everybody else wasn't up to Alabama standard, then that's not on Georgia. Georgia ran through an SEC conference schedule. And as much as people want to bag on SEC, I'm not an SEC fan when it comes to them being treated differently than everybody else. But when it comes to winning football championships, national football championships, look, you have to give them their due. And yes, a bulk of that is Alabama. But even when you're back to Florida, doing what they did, under Urban, that matters. We can't put the Big Ten in that conversation because the Big Ten only had Ohio State. Same thing. ACC, they had Clemson. It's been a while since Florida State was of note. So it was SEC teams trying to figure out who was going to play Ohio State and who was going to play maybe Oregon, who was going to play maybe somebody else from the SEC. And that's not the fault of anybody within the SEC. Everybody else has to get better. And so next Monday, it'll be two SEC teams playing in a rematch of the SEC championship. It's confirmation. It's reaffirmation. Now we understand. Oh, well, they really were that good. And everybody else needs to get better. The whole mission going through this thing is that teams be able to identify where they play, where they rank, and where they stand. Michigan went into that bowl game, to that semifinal, feeling pretty good about it. And then opening play, they took a punch to the jaw. And two of their big guys took a helmet to the jaw, and they never recovered. They pulled two linemen, and my goodness gracious, it was brutal. It was brutal. So next Monday, we get Alabama and Georgia in a rematch of a game played, a week ago and 2 weeks ago. And we have to accept that they're the standard bearers and everybody else has to get better. Everybody in the Big Ten needs to get better. Everybody in the Big Ten needs to get better. Ohio State noticed that. Pac-12, Utah had them on the ropes. Couldn't finish, had them on the ropes. Michigan didn't show. For Nebraska, it's pretty simple. They've got to do everything better. Everything has to be better for the Nebraska Cornhuskers going forward. To reach Michigan, Ohio State level, they have to get better. To reach Wisconsin, Michigan State level, they have to get better at everything. At everything. And no matter what side of the fence you stand on, whether it's, well, we're close or we're simply not good enough, whatever way you want to look at it, either way, they have to get better at everything. There's not one thing that Nebraska does good enough now to compete with the top four teams in the Big Ten Conference. And I think that should be the standard and the target. It shouldn't be to win 6 games. That shouldn't be the standard or the target. That should not be. And yes, coaching changes put you in a position where you can change all of those things. You can change the attitude of your program. You can change the direction of your program. You can change the way folks talk about your program. You can change the narrative of the program. What you will find out is that they will have to find a way to get better at every position. From the text line, DP, the problem isn't with Georgia or Alabama. The problem is the national media claiming that SEC is king. It's top heavy. The rest of the conference isn't great. Brandon, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be great from top to bottom. Titles determine your standing. Nobody cares who was at the bottom of the AFC East when the Patriots were reigning king. Nobody cared. Nobody knows who's at the bottom of the NFC West. NFC South, everybody knows that the best team is in the NFC South. And the target is for you to get better so that you can compete with those people. The SEC understands that in order to win a national championship, you're going to have to go through an SEC team to do it. That's a statement of truth. Kirk from Georgia says, I love my dogs and praying the contract Saban has with the devil will run out. Yeah, we're all hoping that whatever deal was made. Saban has, he's got the playbook. He's got the playbook. He's figured out how to recruit. He's figured out how to get people in the door. He's figured out how to get his boosters in line. He figured out how to control the fan narrative, which is simply by winning. Like Saban figured out a long time ago. Look, if they win, he doesn't have to listen to the fan base because the fan base isn't going to have anything much to say. And he's absolutely right. They don't have much to say. Look, if you win, you can go through all the other stuff that's in play. And Nick Saban has figured it out. Urban Meyer figured it out. People weren't looking in Urban's back pocket when he was winning. It wasn't until he was losing that people had to go through. Let's go to the Honda Lincoln Hotline. Chris has been waiting. Chris, what's up?
Hey, great show. I just watched a New Year's Day game where the weak Kentucky SEC team beat the top Big Ten West team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the last I checked, the SEC was 3 for 3 against Big Ten in the bowls this year. I don't know if that is accurate, but I know the 3 I paid attention to, the SEC looked the Big Ten, and there was only one of them that was a playoff game. So, yeah, they might be a little weaker towards the middle of the conference, but, we still got our butts whooped by them.
Yeah.
At least 3 times.
Yeah, that's
how
it works, Chris. That's how it works. Thanks for the call. Look, before folks get too crazy into saying, well, the rest of the conferences, wait a minute. Where would Texas A&M? Texas A&M beat out Alabama, so they're part of the discussion. Look, Florida had an off year, a year so bad that a coach with a 70% winning percentage was fired. But what would Florida have done in the Big Ten? LSU is 3 years off from being a national champion and the standard for NFL type players. It's a factory. Like, you can get caught up in the mesh. Look, you want to talk about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is not the prototype for the SEC football conference. They're just not. The standard for everything that happens is, if you're going to win a national football title, you got to go through the teams of the SEC. And that's been the case. Not because they're put there. It's because every year somebody from the SEC puts out a dominant product. For the past previous years, Ohio State and Clemson also put out dominant products so they can represent their conferences in the playoffs. But the reality is, at the top, just like the Big Ten, it's Ohio State. From a national perspective, it's Ohio State. It just became Michigan. Like literally 2 weeks ago. Michigan was not in the standard of discussion for the Big Ten Conference. USC is still the standard bearer in the Pac-12, even if they don't get in. Utah just made the statement. And they were following Oregon. But you could win a national title without really going through USC. Nobody had to get at USC. USC got itself. Everybody has to target Alabama. And if you're not targeting Alabama, you're not targeting a national title. You're not. Like, if you haven't figured out how you're going to match up against Alabama every year, you are not trying to win a national title. Statement of truth. So the SEC is what it is, baby.
You never see signs at College Game Day saying we want USC.
Yeah, not anymore. Not unless it's UCLA.
It's always we want Bama.
Not unless it's at USC. Look, I get the frustration of it being the same old, but it has to come from everybody else saying, we're tired of Nick Saban being dominant. We need to come get him. Dabo said it for a bit. Look, I'm not scared to look Nick Saban in the face. Bet. Urban said, look, man, I ain't scared of you, dude. Bet. Kirby Smart says, I ain't scared of you. You still kicking my tail, but I'm not scared of you.
State.
Right? That's what it is.
You got a coach at Michigan State that I think wants to compete.
Well, how about that?
How about that?
How about that? So we're going to throw the break here because the voice you hear is of a 3-time national champion.
Don't.
We're going to bring him into the fold right here on 101 when we come back, 937 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air's motto is our family serving yours. That starts with how we hire. We go through an extensive interview process to really get to know you and show you who we are. We want to help you build a great career, be challenged, have fun, and bring home an excellent weekly paycheck. We offer competitive wages with benefits, including a day off for your birthday. Apply to be a part of the John Henry's family at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
You're listening to One on One with DP, sponsored by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to 101 93.7 The Ticket, 402-464-5685. Starter Lincoln Hotline, Honda Lincoln Hotline. You can text in. This is the one where he literally ran through the station like John Cena coming down to the ring. He flexed on him for a little bit, got in the ring and said, "I'm ready. Let's bring in three-time national champion. Let's bring in the captain. Let's bring in Shawn Jackson." How you do it, bro?
Man, I'm awesome, man. it's great just to be heard from.
Right?
Yeah, man. You know, they'll dig a hole 12 feet deep and put you in alive and just say, sit there.
Friction is required for greatness.
Hey, man, that's how diamonds are made.
Right? Like friction is required. And people said, okay, you need to fill a lineup, you need a spot. And I said, I need to hear from people who have something to say that's their own.
Sure.
From their own experience, their own knowledge, their own space in this thing, right? That not everybody can tell me what it's like to play in a national championship game. Not everybody can tell me what it's like to be on the bottom end of a roster and fight your way to the top. Not everybody can say that they know where the bottom is.
Yeah, it's heart of a lion. Yeah, you gotta think about. Everybody thinks about the king of the jungle when he's there. He's got a big name. He's running the Pride, but he had to get there. He got kicked out of a Pride. He had to go through some things to get back, to know how to take back over the Pride. So, sometimes, it's just my grandpa says the sun shines on the dog's butt twice sometimes.
Look,
every blue moon.
Right? But through all of this, right? When I got the word that I need to fill a spot, like I need to give the microphone to somebody. And it's like the old cultural thing, the hip hop thing, where he has to grab the mic. He has to grab the mic session. And you got people all over and go, well, who do people want to hear from? And I thought, you and your contact base, you and your Rolodex, I'm old school, you and your Rolodex of people that you can have conversations with on a day-to-day basis that are important to Husker fans. There are people that we want to do it, and then there are people that need to do it. I think you need to do this. I think this validates your place in this space. And I'm looking forward to what you do every day from 11 to 2.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. It's a big time major opportunity. And, we got a lot, I call them the others, you know what I mean? There's a lot of others that play for Nebraska that needs to be heard. They got something to say. They understood what it took in order to win national championships. And in order for us to get back, I think we got to know our history so that we can repeat our history. We got to know it, though. If we don't know it, then we have no idea where we're going.
Well, you and Jay and Strick can hold people accountable for things that I can't hold them accountable for, right? And you will lead us in celebrating the things that we need to celebrate. Like when we see something good, listen, you see something good, you say something good. Well, coming from you, when it says, hey, this is a good thing, we can all kind of stick our chest out a little bit going forward. Let's go back before we go forward. Tell the story of you, young Shawn, and how you end up as a Nebraska Cornhusker.
I grew up in Nebraska, Omaha, in the projects, of course. And I was blessed enough to have the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program. Shout out to now teammates, Coach Osborne and them.
Mhm.
Shout out to that program. But I had a great big brother who kind of took some time with me, even though he was of the opposite color. He came to the projects to pick me up. He took me, he showed me a different life. He said, listen, I tell you what, I have a deal. If you do well in school, I'm going to take you to Nebraska football camp. Well, I mean, come on. I'm 5 years old. I've always wanted to be a Husker. So to go to a game in that sense, and to not only go to the game, but to go to football camp, it just lit me up. It made me feel like, okay, I got to get my grades. And that's what I went and did. 9th grade year, I came down. I went to football camp. I had to go up against a guy named Troy Dumas. We got to talk about that, too, when we talk to Troy.
Uh-huh.
But I'm a 9th grader. He's a senior. He's coming to Nebraska. And, the heart of a champion says, you're going to get run over.
Yep.
You're going to get trucked, okay? But you know what? At least stick your head in there and act like you've been there before, no matter what the outcome is. Still stick your head in there, stick your nose in there. And that's what I did. And Coach Steele brought me back to the bus because, back in those days, you took the Greyhound bus everywhere.
Yeah.
Took me back to the bus station. I told him I'll be back in 3 years. I'll be back as a player. And I had a pretty good season at South High School. We went 4-5, which was a winning record for us. And then the next year we went 5-4. So we had a pretty decent team. I had a decent year, and the rest is kind of so. I was on my way to Iowa. It seems like Iowa's stealing a lot of players from our own backyard, and I was on my way to Iowa, and I want to go to Nebraska. They don't know if I'm fast enough. I still want to go to Nebraska, but Iowa's really courted me. Hayden Fry, all these guys are like, we really want you to come to Nebraska, come to Iowa. I had a basketball game on Friday. I'll never forget this. And Dave Triplets, the running back coach, he's like, I don't know how he caught wind of it, but I'm supposed to go see the Fab Five on Saturday. He comes to my basketball game because that morning I get a phone call from Coach Solis. He says, hey, we want you to be a Husker. And I'm like, oh, yes. Dang. No, wait. Yes. Because when you get that phone call, everything goes out the door. Even though Iowa treated me with a lot of respect and a lot of dignity and said, we really want you. The fact that I was a Husker through and through since I was 5 years old, it threw everything out the door, and they said, okay, we got to go to Nebraska. So, I'm a young kid. The Fab Five is balling. I was supposed to go so I go to Coach Solis. I had to call him back and I say, hey, Coach, man, I want to go on my recruiting trip to Iowa. And he says, if you go to that trip, we'll pull the scholarship. So, you in that sense, I love it. I love the fact that, I wanted to see the Fab Five, but I wanted to be a Husker first.
Yeah.
Husker time first. And so, I did that, and I accepted. And lo and behold, so we had a lot of good players 1993. Scott Frost was in that class, and he was the biggest thing since Elvis Presley around here. I'm telling you, because we hadn't had a quarterback to come out like him that's from the state in a long time, that's from the state of Nebraska. So for him, for me, it was great that he went to Stanford because I got that last scholarship. So, and I'm also appreciative for Scott coming back because I don't think we would have won the championship without Scott and him going through what he went through in 95 and then, struggling in 96 early and then finding some success, but then also coming back in 97 and winning. But that tells you how good of a team we had back then. So, I was blessed enough to be able to play for Nebraska. I played in a great time, great years. I had to go against the great Trev Alberts. That's the only reason I came in as a fullback. I played running back in high school, came in as a fullback. They put me through, I had like Corey Schlesinger, who is one of the baddest fullbacks to ever put the pads on. To me, he's in my top 3 at Nebraska to put the pads on. But, you have him pounding on you every day, and back then you talk about that trial by fire. There wasn't a lot of true freshmen who played as true freshmen when I came through. You had your one and dones. You had your 1 and 2s. You had your Leslie Dennis's. You had your Lawrence Phillips when I played. You had your, I think Ralph Brown played as a true freshman. You've had your guys who play as true freshmen, but at Nebraska, it was such a culture of there's 5 people ahead of you, and they're all jockeying for the number 1 spot. They might not be good enough, but boy, they're trying. Mm-hmm. So to have to go through that and go from one position, running back, to fullback, to, okay, you're on scout team now. Yeah, you're on scholarship. We don't care, but you're on scout team. It never once crossed my mind to go to a different school. Not one time did it ever cross my mind to enter the transfer portal. Now, listen, the transfer portal ain't never went anywhere. It's been here.
Yeah.
That's how Scott got back. Transfer portal.
Yeah.
The only difference is they had to sit out a year, whereas now, because of COVID and everything else, you walk right into a team. So for me to be on scout team for 2 years, not 1, but 2 years, and we're talking about going against the real black shirts. When I say real black shirts, I'm talking about the guys who would hit you in the mouth and not even know your name, not help you up, not do anything, even though it's practice is their game. And so when you have that, I kind of start competing because, I had the Christian Peters, I whammed him one time and he beat me smooth down. Like, you little freshman, I dare you chop block me.
How dare you?
How dare you? And I said to myself after that beat down that I would never get beat down again. I don't care if it's practice. It didn't matter what it was. He taught me how to be tough. Christian Peter. That was, and it was because he beat me down that I said, never again will I get treated like that. And I'm going to compete every day at practice like it's my game, because you know what? For 2 years, it was my game.
But see that, so we're talking to Shawn Jackson, again, captain, 3-time national champion. He will take over from 11 to 2 every day here on 97.7 The Ticket. As you talk about that, right, that it was not only accepted, but it was how business was done, was that this program created people who showed up for game day 5 days a week just to get to Saturday.
Absolutely. You can't listen, you can't show up on game day without practice days. It just doesn't work like that. You have to, the ability, the will to prepare to win has to be greater than the will to win. Let me say that one more time for you people who want to write it down. The will to prepare, the ability to prepare to win, the will to prepare, how you prepare, it has to be greater than the game.
Yeah, the want to win, everybody wants to win. Not everybody's willing to do the work that guarantees the win, or at least allows you the opportunity to win. And I think within the program, and as the program sits currently, that, wow, what shows up on Saturday may indicate that doesn't exist currently. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to, you play the way you practice, period, point blank in the discussion. You talk about change, and change is good. I think Coach Frost and the boys are making great changes. I love the offensive hires. I think it's going to be a fantastic season. But we have to have the ability to tweak what we're doing to better the entire team, to better the organization. It might not look good at the time, but through the fire, through the time, through the practice, eventually you'll get a diamond out of it. But you got to practice the better, harder than the game. The games were so easy for us. And I mean that. The games were, I'm not just saying that. The games were easy because you knew in practice every day you were going to run 140 plays. It didn't matter that you was Joe Schmo for Shawn Jackson from Omaha South walking in here. You rush for all these yards. You're just an average Joe now. What are you going to do to separate yourself? Well, that took me having to line up at tight end and go against Trev Alvarez and get slung all over the place. That took me to go against Dwayne Harris. That took me to go against some of these guys who, Ed Stewart, Toby Wright, Baron Miles. They took me having to go against the Terry Cornelius. Now, I didn't have to get in there that far, but my point is, if they got a chance to tackle me, to slam me to the ground, that's what they're going to do, because they had to practice tackling in practice. So then when they practice tackling in practice, in the game, they didn't like arm tackle, go high. They knew how to do the technique.
Well, plus they were doing it. I always thought practicing against somebody who was better than you, or at least they respected you, but there was also a certain level of disrespect because the guys in the black shirts that you faced were about their business. They had a high mission. Like they weren't allowed to go and ponder 500 football.
Oh no.
They no, that wasn't a part.
No.
That wasn't part of the deal.
No.
So when you hear people talk about in the current form that 6 wins would be enough, what do you say?
Come on, DP. You playing with me now, right? You playing with me, man?
Like I don't understand.
You gotta be playing with
I
me,
don't
man.
understand. I hear it every day.
You gotta be playing.
I hear it every single day.
On no level, okay? I coached Little League football. I started 2 Little League football programs, one in Omaha, one in Lincoln. And we won championships. And on no level to 6 games say that you've arrived if you only win 6. That's not arriving. Listen, I'll take you back. Judge Judy, just a second. I will take you back to not too many years ago. We had a coach named Bo Pelini. Wasn't very fan-friendly or media-friendly because of just who he was as a defensive coordinator. He was a defensive player. Those guys are cut different. Coach McBride's cut different.
Right.
Okay? They're cut different. But he won 9 games every single season.
But it wasn't enough then.
It depends on who it wasn't enough for. I'm a fan now. It was enough.
It was enough.
It was enough.
9 wins, man. 9 wins is a universe that this program's not close to.
That's it. Listen, 3-9, 9-3. That's light years away.
Right. Like there's a difference when people say they're close. I understand the base level thinking, the mentally lazy thinking behind that, which is a play here, a play there. But it's a bunch of plays consistently. And the consistency is the greater story. That you constantly find a way not to get done what you need to get done. And that applies whether it's football, basketball, baseball. Like folks say, well, you take it easy on the basketball program. No, I do not.
No.
You are who you are until you change it. And the change requires in removing the BS at practice.
Gary Pippen? What coach was he?
Pepin's the track coach.
He was a track coach, right?
Track coach.
At the time, how long has Coach Cook been here?
21?
Yeah.
22?
Yeah.
21, 22 years.
Consistently.
You've been here since 2000. So yeah,
Consistency.
Mm-hmm.
See, he knows. Everybody wonders how in the world has he gotten these volleyball players to play over 20-year span at a high level? Still. Can't try to say, oh, the kids are different. Oh, no. He has a formula. It worked, and he works his formula. He who fails to plan plans to fail. So to me, you have to figure out what was the glue, what was the concoction that made the pie smooth in order to get it back to where it's at.
Oh, by the way, the pie was smooth Friday.
Yeah, the pie.
He made sweet potato pie for listeners. I'm just going to say this to you. Go and find Rashawn and make sure and get some of his sweet potato pie. I'm just
that's
me to you. That's a love statement. You need to find this man, and you need to do this.
100-year-old recipe. That thing's
well. See, but that's the point. That's the point right there. That through all you've got to make mistakes. You've got to err, and then once you figure it out, you have to stay true to it.
Yeah, and people learn differently. Okay, so my grandfather had a 3rd grade education. He died about 10 years ago. He was 98 years old. Right. He made the pie all the way up until he died. Now, we would come in the kitchen. He'd be making pies, and by the time he gets done, it's like an explosion went off. But the pies were just like that, probably better. Okay. Big time pies, sweet potato pie, grandpa's sweet potato pies. Okay, the best. So he would never let you come in the kitchen and write it down. You could never say, "Hey, grandpa, I'm gonna come in the kitchen while you make the pies and write it down." Why? Because he was gonna put you to work doing something. So you weren't gonna have time to write anything down. You had to pick up the pie recipe as you went.
You had to pay attention.
You had to pay attention.
And it had to matter.
It had to matter. Got to pay attention. And he showed us through what he did. He showed my brother. My brother got it. My uncle got it. Certain people, my son knows how to make it. Not as good. His consistency ain't good yet. He don't know how to make the consistency.
Well, but he hadn't been through what your grandfather went through.
He ain't been through what his dad went through.
Right. Well, that's what Kobe said. My kids are going to be like, I was poorer than my kids, but my kids are going to be super poor years from now because they didn't have to go through what I had to go through to get great. Friction is required. It really is. This is this program's friction. They thought the friction was losing a big game on national TV. That wasn't a statement of truth. The friction becomes here at the bottom where you either have to use it as leverage, you have to use it as something to bounce off of, and real greatness is you have to bounce back greater than the depths to which you fell. That's the whole point of rebounding and jumping. No matter how far you fall, greatness requires that you bounce back greater. And some of that requires that somebody's there to set the guide for how this thing's going to be done. I'll ask you over the course. We got 2 minutes here. Who's more important to the football season, Trev Alberts or Scott Frost?
Ooh. Ugh. Hey, man, you didn't tell me I was going. You didn't tell me I was getting in the ring with Bud Crawford.
Hey, man,
you know what I'm saying?
hey,
you didn't tell me I had to switch my style up in order to beat him. I don't know why people don't know that. You got to switch your style to beat Bud Crawford. But Trev Alberts or Scott Frost, you can't have one without the other. Sorry, you can't. You in order to be successful, they're gonna have to figure out a way to work together, and they're gonna have to make this thing in the right way. Ultimately, because it's Coach Frost, it's his deal. It's his deal. He was there before Trev got there, and I think that at the end of the day, Trev has to be at 50,000 feet because there's way more athletics than just football that he has to look. Now, he has to fix football. He has to help fix it, but helping fixing football is not as hard as we think. It's just a couple of ABCs of football. ABC. That's the first thing you normally we teach our kids. 1, 2, 3 ABCs, fundamentals. So there's some ABCs that I think if we can get those things into control, meaning the blocking and tackling correctly, meaning staying off sides, on sides when you're on offense, not jumping when you're on defense, not making the bonehead plays that we've made, not being going into you're tied up, you have the ball, we're in their territory, and then we put up an errant pass that has no idea where we're throwing it. We're throwing a triple coverage. Those are the things that we can take care of as players that they have to take care of, that I think you might have been 9-3 because we're in every game. I like that we're in every game, but at the end of the day, 3-9 was our record. That's who we are. That's what we have to fix.
I'm going to say this before we go to break. Being close is like being in the bar Friday night when it's popping. And you dancing with the girl, the real hot girl. You dancing with her all night. All night. You buying her drinks all night. And then at the end of the night, Ohio State come in and take your girl, and you have wasted your money. Yeah, it was cool to be there. You had a good time being seen with the hot chick. But in the end, bupkis, zero, nada. That's the line. You're in the bar. You can get the girl to dance with you. You got to figure out how to close, because that's the most difficult thing in all of sports.
Absolutely.
Closing is it. We'll throw the break. We'll come back. We'll close out this segment and finish up one-on-one, and then I'm going to hand it over. to Rashawn and let him carry you to 2 o'clock. I think we do that. Rico, I'm going to ask you again. One more question. One more time. One more thing to ask Rashawn when we come back.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Coppell Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Coppell, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at CoppellCars.com.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Rice. In the Boys Basketball Heartland Athletic Conference Tournament, Lincoln Northeast got a win over Lincoln Southwest in overtime, 65-61. Lincoln Pies the 10th won over Lincoln North Star, 54-29, to advance to the championship. They will face off against Lincoln Northeast. Lincoln High would exit the tournament after losing to Fremont in overtime, 61-51. In the girls' side of the tournament, Fremont won over Lincoln Southwest with a strong shooting performance from beyond the arc with a final score of 69-42. Lincoln Pius the 10th got a win in a close game over Lincoln East, 59-52. The Lincoln Pius girls will face off against Fremont in their final matchup of the tournament. In games outside of the tournament, Lincoln Lutheran won over Holdridge, 77-63, and the Lincoln Lutheran girls also won in their matchup, 34-21. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is all about the good and creating more of it. More drive-through celebrations, more weekend traditions, more family dinners and lunches, more car picnics and road trips, more desserts, maybe more second desserts, more celebrating being together as much as we can. There's always room for more good and more Freddy's. Keep the good going with a taste that brings you back.
You could celebrate a Nebraska football win with chips or wings and your favorite beverage, but Beatrice Bakery has all sorts of cakes to celebrate all victories this fall. Coffee cake, breakfast bread, artisan cakes, and especially Grandma's fruit cake. No one remembers who brought the chips, but everyone remembers who brought the cake. Make your parties memorable and your Mondays at the office better with cakes from Beatrice Bakery. They ship nationwide. Check out BeatriceBakery.com, proud sponsors of the Nebraska Shrine Bowl. Welcome to our world of yum.
You're listening to One on One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment of One on One. The captain will take over at 11 o'clock, go to 2 o'clock. Him and Nick will get you through, and then whatever guests they have. And today's an introduction day, so for Shawn Jackson, 3-time national champion. Captain gets to tell you who he is, what he wants to do with that 3-hour segment a day. And it's pretty impressive. I'm just going to let you know. It's pretty impressive what he's going to lay down and go through. Rico, give me a parting thought, man. What's on your mind?
Well, I kind of wanted to get in front of this, but I guess, nobody on the text line actually wanted to mention it. But just playing the devil's advocate, you said, the 9 wins from Bo Pelini was enough as a fan, and you felt good about that. And I also felt the same way. I didn't want Bo Pelini to leave. I thought he was doing a great job. I thought he was building something good here. But people would argue, and people have argued, that the 3 losses and the way that those 3 losses would come about was the main reason, and that was unacceptable, and that was why Bo Pelini was fired.
I think it is unacceptable. I mean, because around here we want championships. I mean, the N on the side of the helmet means national championship. So in that instance, in that time, to get beat that way, there was something wrong that needed to be fixed from a football perspective. If Coach Pelini just could have got a grasp on him as a person, just straightforward, you can't do that. He's got to be more of a game manager. A head coach is just managing people. He's managing people. Same thing Coach Frost got to do. He's got to manage people. Step back, manage people, practice harder, and manage people. So 9-3, if you manage people well, turns into 11-1, 12-0. 3-6, if you manage people, turns into 9-3. I'm saying you got to crawl before you walk. You've never seen a baby just get up and start talking and walking and eating
Except for Rico.
steak.
Except for Rico.
Oh, he's the first one?
Yeah.
I was. I was exceptional is what they said.
Hey, I like that.
It's very impressive.
I like that.
Yeah.
Did you have a full mustache and everything?
They thought I was, yes, but it was just the mustache. It was disgusting. They thought I was going to be some type of, neuroscientist or something. Turns out I'm just a producer on a radio show.
Hey, man, hey, sometimes it takes greatness to do that.
Yes, it does.
He will tell you that
all
day.
of the greatness.
Every day, all of the greatness. Matter of fact, I'm waiting. We did an over-under privately, everybody else in the station, over how quickly Rico was going to challenge you to something.
Sure.
Anything. So it's coming.
No.
It's coming.
No, I don't believe it.
It's coming.
Look, I grew up in South Omaha.
He's not. He ain't ready. He's not ready to challenge me nothing.
That's what they all say.
Well, I'm waiting, Rico.
I gotta figure something out.
Suave.
Gotta figure something out first.
I'm waiting, Rico.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
Might be waiting
I'm
for a while.
game, man. I'm game. Hey, listen, I heard you. I heard that the bowl game question you asked.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. So, and it was, I know now that you have to be very, very meticulous when you come up with something, one of these questions. Look at the blue tape that you can't see behind the red tape.
Little small things there.
Yeah.
Little small things you won't catch.
Yeah.
I have another. So you went from running back to tight end, right?
I went from running back to fullback to tight end.
Running back to fullback to tight end. Okay, so at tight end, how do you think you would have done in today's, football landscape where tight ends are taking over games?
I think I would have did pretty good. I think so, because I was more of a, you give me, when I did catch the ball, I had my fair drops, but when I did catch the ball, I was pretty phenomenal after the catch. So, it would have been more of an H-back type, but I could block. That's the difference, man.
Very important.
I can block. So, when you can block, sometimes it throws your pass game off, but it just all depends on the coach you have, how he's coached you up to be, because tight ends is one of those positions where you got to just about do everything. You got to be offensive lineman. You got to be a running back after you catch the ball. You got to be a receiver because you got to catch the ball, and you just got to do a lot of things well in order to play the position. But in this day and age, nobody blocks anymore. Everybody's positioning. I'm a hitter.
Everybody's just in the way.
Yeah, let me stone you one good time.
See, that's when he was in the brickyard.
Oh yeah.
Pipeline required real work. And people throw that word around real freely, like, oh, the guy playing offensive tackle now No, he is a dude playing left tackle.
I love
there's difference between.
I love the little bit that you threw in there, earlier in the show, the real black shirts.
Yeah,
of that little bit.
The reason why I said that is because we can't. Sometimes we take credit. I don't know what game it was. It was Ohio State or whatever, but we took a lot of credit because we didn't give up a lot of yards on the ground, but we gave up 405 yards in the air. Listen, doesn't matter. Defense is supposed to stop the offense, whether it's on the ground or in the air. It doesn't matter. You got to stop them. And so real black shirts, in my heart, not that they're not, real black shirts that take pride in being a black shirt wants to stop you every game in every facet of the game, not just one. And, you talked about that pipeline that that I got a pipeline pancake king that's coming up. Aaron Taylor, Mr. Outland Trophy winner, Mr. 3-time champion. He's gonna start us off right, and just get, he's not the prototypical lineman. 6'2". Outland Trophy winner.
You mean they didn't follow the metrics and they got one?
I mean, Will Shields.
How about that? We go
6'3".
We go, man. Look, I'm excited for what's coming. I'm gonna hang out just to make sure in case you need to tag for a minute. You need somebody waving the flight in.
Husker power. I'm gonna define Husker power. Do you even know what Husker power means?
Husker power.
DP, you know what it means?
We're gonna find out, right?
Rico, question. What is Husker power?
11
mean?
o'clock.
I'll tell you.
11 o'clock. Don't go nowhere. A couple minutes right after the break. Husker power.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to FX